from last week. Yep. I did manage to watch the video from last week and I kind of catch myself up. So I'm definitely looking to tune in or excuse me, add into the conversation as it pertains to the governance and all things I was talking about last week. And definitely excited to go a little further into the personnel and resources department. Which hopefully this goes smooth, man. I've been kind of running on fumes, but I got it down. I got enough to digest, hopefully. So we'll see.
Okay, I'll jump in. I'm doing great. I'm, as always, really happy to be here and see you and to contribute what I can and learn as much as I can. And I'm here in spirit, soul, not just body.
So I'm as always checking in from Lawrenceville, and like I said, I got my hands full today, but definitely didn't want to miss the meeting because this is so important what we're doing.
Okay, so we're going to move ahead. I'm not so technologically savvy with doing the Zoom and sharing documents and everything, but I have pulled it up separately, our document. Let's see what we're on. So last week we went over governance, and that's what you missed. And I think that we wanted to get some consensus. We had some discussion around how long the cohort is. And I think we came to some agreement that the length of time it takes for the new community members to come in and to get to know each other was sufficient enough, especially because we are moving our families in together. And we felt like it was enough time to build trust around getting to know new people and them learning and understanding the culture of collectively sustainable eco village. So, baby, if you could bring that up, you could kind of read over everything we kind of said and or agreed to.
Yeah, I have everything up. Yeah, like I said, I watched the video and I looked at the document. I guess I go ahead and lead in with the things that I saw that could be kind of teased out a little bit more. So it looks like the third week or third step says site visit 2 weeks and things to consider. It says can it be part of the 6 month cohort? So I think yes. So furthermore, I say this. So I've been really thinking about it since I watched the video and I've been looking at it, and I'm trying to really make this stuff really it has to flow because we have to be realistic about vetting people. We have to be realistic about time constraints, and a lot of this stuff is really based on like energy. Like we're getting to know people. We're getting to kind of exchange the cultural value and normalcy through our energy and how we kind of engage with one another. So I was really looking at it. Hold on 1 second. My bad, y'all. I be hearing that. It's like I be doing these speaking engagements, and if I'm by the speaker and I can hear myself echo, it's like I can't think of what I'm trying to. So yeah, sorry about that. So the whole thing is like really I'm looking at this in an honest way because we've been doing this so long. It's like how do we really make this thing true? The only way to make this true in a flowing fashion, to me, for a 6 month cohort, is to have most of this stuff be done in, or some of it be done in person, so that that 2 week site visit could kind of be integrated into the cohort in some form of fashion. Um, I don't know. I'm really just trying to catch up to it. So I really feel like the stewardship centers are going to play a huge role within the training, the decolonized nonviolent communication training, the tools of oppression, the co-creating and thriving community training. I think all these things really, well, for the most part, I think the co-creating and thriving community training needs to be something that a stewardship center is kind of like verified to educate or to facilitate. So that way, again, it kind of adds in somebody physically that whoever this person who's looking to move into the community, it like the point of contact is real, right? We're really getting to exchange information by way of just being around each other. We're really getting to feel each other's vibe. Because I believe again, the stewardship center being the filtering agent, right? Filtering everybody out who really is not ready to venture into this space, or just filtering out the static from the generalized cultural, right? Cultural normalcy. So this is really like our pot that we put people in to kind of really build this system up. And I think stewardship centers are going to need to really have a hand in the cohort flow, because it has to be a point of contact to then be able to say, yes, I'm Seals Family Farm. This person came to the co-creating thriving community training. They did it here. They've been volunteering here. I know their family. They're good people. They definitely are. I recommend them to the community that's down the road, 2 hours away, that's living off grid. Now it's like almost like that's what we've been. And I'm sorry, y'all, because I've really been having my head like this big on like strategy and how we're executing. But I've been really like conscientious about people infiltrating what we're doing and then trying to copy and paste. So even in Atlanta, it's already people saying that they're stewardship centers, and I'm like, how? Like, it's. I'm glad that you like it, but you can't just represent a stewardship center without being verified. And again, we have different tiers to be verified. One being the Heartbeat app, but again, I think as we start to build these systems and the framework out, we need to have points of we need to have points of contact that we reference to verify who people are. So if somebody gets in and they're wanting to go to this community, who's like a job does, who's your references? Give us your past employees so we can see if you were tardy or you know what I mean, where you ran bus. So it's like we need to have that in place, and that's kind of what that stewardship center is really going to be a lot of the glue that kind of holds this thing together as far as the cohort and the information. So I think to like even pass some of this dialogue training and facilitation over to the stewardship center so that 6 month flow can be more true, and somebody's really getting to engage with a community that's right there in the vicinity. And then again, that community can vouch for them going forward to live off grid or in this collectively sustainable community that we create. And I'm thinking big. I'm not thinking Atlanta. I'm thinking when it's all over the place. How do we maintain some kind of integrity with the the framework and who's coming in and they actually took the courses? So I know that was a mouthful, but again, I'm trying to kind of catch up to everything and kind of compartmentalize it at the same time.
I think I followed you, but to try and say it back, um, are you saying that first the stewardship center has to be verified in of itself by having whoever the leaders of that center are um, taken a class with you all, and getting the credentials, and then next step is people who want to join that steward center. Do they have to get okayed by you too, or do they just have to have a word of mouth connection, a person to person connection?
Okay, so the stewardship center is kind of like open to the public, just like how Deidre y'all came and visited. We have a host of classes, demonstrations, socials that we do on a monthly basis. So yes, that would be their entryway in. So just like, and I'm speaking this true to life because it's our home. We throw these things, so I know everybody who comes. There's not one person that comes down the driveway that I don't recognize or that I don't greet and introduce myself. So the groups are really small, so we can kind of keep that kind of security in mind as well because it's our home. But yes, if they come through the stewardship center and they, let's say they come to a demonstration based on how to make sourdough starter, right? And they're really intrigued with the sourdough starter, and then the sidebar conversations afterwards, and we're like, hey, we do this class too, or hey, we got a hiking trip coming. The natural rhythm is that people who are really interested in this lifestyle, they come back and they come back again. And then next thing you know, we're talking about this community, and then they're coming into the community that way. That's the most honest way. Sometimes I see people who just pop up out of nowhere on Collectively Sustainable they're in Atlanta, but I wouldn't be able to verify them because I'm saying I've never seen them at a class. I don't know how they act. I don't know if they stuck up, snobby. I don't know if they got a lot of this cultural stuff dragging along with them that we're trying to get rid of. I don't know. So let's say that person came into Collectively Sustainable, they became a steward, they did their online training, and they got verified to be a steward. They can actually petition to come to one of these off grid, I want to call them, let's say, collectively sustainable villages, right? The villages, that's the off grid that we're talking about. They can try to apply, but they're going to have a reference from a stewardship center. And if I haven't seen them, and we got 13 other stewardship centers who say we haven't seen them either, that's going to be a no-no. Why? Because you didn't come to any of these real life in-person things, these trainings that we have to do. I didn't see you at the conflict resolution or family, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So they would have to make contact with a stewardship center, and the stewardship center in my mind is kind of evolving as a first line supervisor. So now again, we have somebody in a physical space to call and say, hey, do you remember this person? They put your name on this. They said you were their reference. Do you remember them? And because the stewardship centers are built to be really small and organized, really, micro solidarically, right? Small areas hyperlocally. I'm going to be able to recant most of the people that came, and I'll be able to give you a firm like, yes, that was a good person. Yes, definitely consider them for your village. They will be great. They already got a background in guard. I can give that testimony outright. So that's how we're going to really get away from like people just sneaking in and kind of sabotaging what we're doing by just, playing the game. And, we just got to think about stuff like that. Hopefully that made sense, Deidre.
It does, sure does. Thank you.
Hey Mello, I see that you just came in. We were kind of getting caught up with some of the stuff that we talked about last meeting that Lawrence wasn't here for, and he's given a little bit more context on when we were discussing whether the 6 months was too long and how we spoke about this, about people coming in through a stewardship center, and once they're in the stewardship center, they'll be into the culture and people will know them already, and then they could be vetted from there whether or not they're actually a good fit to come into the village, the actual village. So that's what we're just going over real quick, and then we're going to move into the land, which is me, Lawrence, and Sanjata on that part of village planning. And since Babe, you dropped the document, would you like to go ahead and segue into that?
Yeah, so it's one problem though, y'all. So I spent some time just to give a visual, and I have it on Canva, and I downloaded it, but I don't know how to upload the Canva. I thought I'd be able to drop the actual picture in the chat as well, but it's not letting me attach any pictures. So I don't know how I can work around that. I will try to just get the Canva link. Man, I don't know. I did put it in, if anybody has the time and the bandwidth to go back to Collectively Sustainable. And damn, did I drop it in here?
Can you share a
I can.
screen?
Well, I'm not the host. So Booby, I can send you the picture and then you can share it. Because I
Or you
think you
just
got to
want me to
share.
make you the host?
But can I do share screen on a cell phone?
I'm not sure.
I think I need to be on a desktop or something to share my screen. Yeah, I really wasn't planning on. Yeah, being the host today. But yeah. Anyway, I'll explain it hopefully well enough. Let's see if I can even change my image. Hold on. I might be able to change my image to a picture. Okay. Anyway, let's go over the document. So I dropped the document in there, and this is again this document is based off of 5 acres. And I use 5 acres just because of the metrics of sustainability, typically resources as far as personnel and space needed to kind of be sustainable. You can definitely do sustainability on an acre, but then it'd be one family doing almost everything. So this 5 acre minimum is kind of the rubric that I'm using so that we can kind of drag and drop this to bigger acreage. We can just multiply it by way of the acreage. So basically, again, we're starting here in Georgia. So I use Georgia's grow season, the soil, the water, all those things, of course. I'm not going to get into all the specifics because I believe that, you know, that stuff can change. You know what I mean? We could be one zone away and change the dirt in the water and all that stuff. So what I really wanted to fixate on was population guidance. If y'all can go to population guidance. So 5 acres, we're saying that the minimum amount of personnel needed is 5 skilled personnel, right? 5 skilled personnel members that wear multiple hats. So just keep that in mind. The maximum on that 5 acres is going to be 25, right? 25. So 5 to 25 people within this population guide. And this is again enough to share labor and to rotate responsibilities. So this 5 acres is a really small piece of land, but again, 25 people can make that small piece of land, like really we can divide the labor out to where nobody's stressed about managing 5 acres. And we're here on 3 acres right now, a little over three. And yes, I cannot keep up with it by myself. It is very difficult. We can manage the food, we can manage the animals, but when it comes to upkeep, clearing the land, or just lawn maintenance is very, very, very difficult. So again, this 5 to 25 range gives us enough resources to maintain a sustainable populace. Um, I'm not going to go over zoning right now. Well, it says land zoning. I will. So I broke it down into the 5 acre plots. Again, this is where that picture comes up. If I can I'm going to just try to send it to Heartbeat into the village planning as a new post, and hopefully maybe y'all can even go back to it and just give me 1 second. Y'all can probably go back to it and I guess just look at it later if you can't get to it now. I'm literally dropping it in there right now. Okay, so if you can go to there, go to the Canva and open it up, and you'll see what I'm talking about in real time. So this 5 acres is basically again going to be sectioned off when we're talking about zoning, um, because we're thinking of stewardship at the center also of our communities. We're talking about, being good stewards of the land. If we have 5 acres, we can't pimp it all the way out, right? We have to think about conservation. We got to think about ecological footprint. So we can't just go in and say we have 5 acres. We're gonna have 100 people in this 5 acres. No, because where does nature go, right? Where did the deer go? Where did the birds go if we clear cut everything for us? So what I did was kind of take that into consideration. So out of the 5 acres, 2 acres are going to be left alone for conservation materials. That could be where our outdoor play areas are, our recreation areas are, and again, just being mindful of our ecological footprint. So 2 acres out of the 5 automatically are going to be used for conservation, right? We have 1 acre that would be designated for farm animals. Again, this might be changed because you might have a community of folks or cohort of people who don't eat meat, so they might use the extra acre for something else. But we're dedicating an acre for animals, mainly for us. I'm thinking sheep and chickens. Sheep because they can be easily moved around, chickens because they can follow behind the sheep, scratch up the land. And this could be a process of regenerative agriculture as well. So that's 3 acres in total. That leaves 2 acres left for livable space, right? Um, what I did was basically, and again, hopefully y'all can see what I'm seeing right now. Hopefully you look it up on Canva. But basically, the last 2 acres is divided to where 1.5 acres is used for the home structures. That gives every home a point 0.2 um, acreage plot, right? So 2/10 of an acre, if you will. That's what every home will sit on. Typically, our average residential plots in the US are 1/10 of an acre. So we're saying 2/10 of an acre. That's enough space for your home and your garden, right? That's very important. Your garden has to be there again because we're saying our community is based on stewardship. And to be a steward, we got to work the land. We know that's where our sustenance comes from. And yes, if you eat, everybody should be playing a part in that collaborative effort. So this is a way to kind of give people some sovereignty on their particular groceries that they like to grow. If you don't eat eggplant or tomatoes, but you like peppers and corn, you're free to plant what you need. But this is supposed to be a supplemental aspect to your diet, right? But again, it's really based on what your particularities are. And then again, we're still doing what we do now with collectively sustainable here in phase 1 is just, hey, I might grow tomatoes and peppers, elderberry, and comfrey in abundance. And I'm looking for my other community members to grow cabbages, beans, the leafy green vegetables, and all the. And then we're actively already living what we're doing. So this is just another compartment of the same framework of just basically everybody playing a part within the system so that you're not bogged down trying to grow everything for your house, but you're only growing 3 things or 4 things intentionally for the community and they're doing the same, right? So that's kind of the premise again. So 1.5 acres will be designated to housing. And what I have it as is basically that, again, 2/10 of an acre. That means we have space for 8 houses. That will equal 1.5 acres. Then I have a half an acre farm in the center of the houses, if you all are looking at it. The half an acre farm is in the center. We always talked about building our framework like this because the center, you got your real farmland. Usually the center is where the animals won't come, especially deer, little pests. If you got more people on the perimeter, they're less likely to come in. So it's like a real life fence instead of a physical fence. We can kind of be the border ourselves, especially if we outside all the time. So that's kind of how I have it set up to where everything is in the center. The homes are on the outskirts. And again, that 0.5 acre is just going to be used for staple crops like potatoes, wheat, grains, things like that. That's going to be grown by the farmer for the community. Again, that might be only 3 to 5 items, half an acre of 3 to 5 items, but it's going to be dispersed amongst the households. And again, that's supposed to be your caloric value, the things that's really going to give you your sustenance. And then your task as a person in that cohort or in that 5 acre plot, you're going to be growing food for your home with particularity in mind, or you're going to be growing things or both and then growing things for the community at large. And again, that farmer is going to be in charge of the sustenance, those long maturation crops that people typically don't have time to deal with. So that's kind of how I have it configured. That's again 8 plots or 8 families. The growth space, you have the 1 acre for the animals and then 2 acres of just conservation and being mindful of our ecological footprint. This model I have, if you all are on Canva, you can go down. I show the second phase, which is just a bigger plot of land. So instead of 5 acres, we're saying 50 acres, which is probably what we're looking at more than anything. So the 50 acre plot, it maps out the same way. 20 acres is now for conservation. 10 acres is for the animals. So if we have now we can have beef, we can have a little bit more production on the bigger side, maybe some horses out there, what have you. But 10 acres again, plus the 20 acres in conservation, that's 30 acres. We're now down to the last 20. And again, out of the 20, 15 are going to be for homes, 5 is going to be the main farm area. So again, that's the framework coming in, and the beauty of it is at that point it's drag and drop. And again, that's why I keep picturing these as like cohorts, because if you have a 3 acre, 2 acre piece of land with 8 houses and a farm in the middle, we can just stack those up every 2 acres. You have X amount of people with the farmland in the middle, so we can basically have 6 units of homes. So I'm saying units like cohorts. So again, you can have 8 homes on a 2 acre cohort with the farm in the middle. You take that and just really drag and drop it every 2 acres. And again, if y'all are looking at it, it's easier to comprehend. Hopefully, I'm making sense. But we can have 8 times 6. What is that? 48. 8 times 6, 48. So 48 homes can be on this 50-acre property with space to have animals, space for conservation, space to grow. And we still have a little a strip of land in the middle. I think it equates to like um 8 acres or 12 acres that's unused. That could be the schoolhouse. That could be now space for a communal center. So all those things can now come into play at the center where everybody is. And that's kind of what I came up with so far. And then if y'all take the document that I dropped in the chat, if you open that back up to the off-grid 5 acre plot, the I guess the most important part, and it's named here, is the critical skill sets that we need to really make this happen. And this is kind of where I've been anxious to get because again, Sunjata and us, we've been doing this for a good little minute. We have different iterations of community, and this is always where everything is. It's like this is where the rubber meets the road, right? Everything sounds good, but until we have the personnel, we can't do any of this stuff. So the critical skill sets that are needed that I want to discuss today, I guess, or put on the table for us to kind of go over is, and can everybody see it? Does everybody have the document? No. So it's in the chat. I dropped this one
Yeah,
in the chat.
I don't have access to this.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You know what, Deidre? I'm sorry. It asked me. Here you are right here. Let me okay you.
Yeah, I just requested access as well.
Okay, cool. I got Mello. I got you. Deidre. I think I should have you as well. Yep, I see you. Share. Sorry
Gotcha.
about that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm glad I slowed down, man. Y'all please pull me anytime I'm talking and it don't make sense. Please just jump out there for sure. Cynthia, I know you got your hands full, so we can just go over this later. I'll drop you the chat personally. But okay, so with that
I got
open,
it.
if y'all scroll down to critical skill sets, we have number one, food and land stewardship, permaculture design, soil remediation and composting, greenhouse management, seed saving, animal husbandry. Um, again, working the land, we got to have somebody who knows how to work the land, some kind of farmer, or gardening crew. And again, because we're a community that's saying we're living off the ground, off the land, everybody's going to have to commit to some kind of food sovereignty and food security and have some kind of food understanding at the base of what we're building because it's essential that we all play a part in our own food security. So everybody's going to be a steward, but we might just have particular people, personnel that are designated to be the farmers or that can help the other people with their garden and irrigation. And hey, don't use that, use the bone meal. You need potassium. So that's kind of what the farmer is going to be. And I'm just going to run down these, and I guess we can kind of go through them on our own. But two is water and sanitation. So again, gray water and knowing how to dispose of waste so that it's not contaminating things. Shelter and construction. Obviously, somebody who is skilled like a carpenter, but a handyman could definitely be there as well in that same parameter. Power and energy, solar bank systems, um, health and medicine. I think we talked about having doctors or nurses or people who are staffed in that department being a part of the village first. Food preservation and nutrition. That's self-explanatory. Education and child stewardship or child care. Very necessary for people who are coming in with children. Security and governance. I know Mello, you were talking about security last time, so that's definitely a big thing. If we're off grid, we need to definitely have someone who spearheads the security in that initiative of that preparedness. And then nine, enterprise and resource stewardship. So basically, again, figuring out how we're going to market what we're doing, or is the farm going to produce, or are we all going to produce a particular crop that goes into this tincture line that we make, or this herbal medication line that we make. And again, those are the nine big critical infrastructure needs as far as personnel. So basically, starting off with a small group, the reality is just like it says, our small group. Let's say we have 5 acres and it's 5 families. Out of the 5 families, we need to have two or three of those skill sets to make this work. That's just reality. So somebody has to be the food guy, the farmer, and possibly the builder, or the farmer and the water sanitation guy, or the farmer and the engineer who knows how to hook up the solar. Somebody else has to cover down on security and shelter. So it's like that's kind of where we are in realistic form. Again, this has a lot of nuance to it. This doesn't say, are we building our own homes or are we ordering them? Are we getting them prefabbed and delivered, or are we actually getting containers and welding the door openings and like, so that's a lot of details that has to be carved out as well, because that'll tell us how big we can get, how fast we can get. But if I'm just taking it from the bare minimum, like how we were starting off with our 87 acres that we were purchasing, we were planning to do all the building. So I can only build so many structures and I only have the capacity to do so many designs. So again, it's just like I might be a backup guy. I might not be able to put the hat on as a construction guy, but I can play the farmer and I can help with the solar, right? And I can be a teacher to the kids. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And again, this is the most important step, is really just understand, again, this is like kind of where stewardship centers come into play. So as we start to again do classes and meet people and get their skill sets and bring them into the community, we get to like be able to like put it out to a broader, denser arena of people who have skills. And we say, when we say, hey, we got this land, we're looking for this, and this. If you fit the bill and you want to join, come on over and apply. But again, the stewardship center is going to be really critical for like really identifying those resources. So that's all I have right now. What do y'all got? Y'all got any questions top of mind? I know I said a lot. What does that sound like to y'all? Does that sound reasonable? Like to wear multiple hats starting out?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's gonna be essential. Um, Especially if we do what, 5 people per not 5 people per acre, 5 people per 5 acres. If we have that minimum. So yeah, I think that would be essential.
Yeah, Deidre.
Wouldn't it likely it's 5 homes, so there could be more than one person in each home that's contributing. Because
That's correct.
I was thinking 2 to 3, like if there's only 2 to 3 skill sets in 5 people, does that cover everything? Like
Right,
it's
right.
it's a lot to cover.
Yes. And so, yeah, and I think that's kind of like one of those things that's just the reality. Like again, like that's kind of where we started off. And so I had to learn, solar. I had to learn carpentry. I had to learn how to grow food. We had to learn how to forage. My wife had to learn herbalism. So we had to learn those things to be able to sustain. But yes, you're right, Deidre. Like I'm looking at it as it should be 8 homes within a 5 acre. But like Mello said, it might be five households that start off, right? And
Yeah.
from what we know, most of our households, most of the people who are members, is typically a one parent household 9 times out of 10, for whatever reason. So that's also something to consider. So yeah, I definitely try to add that up and be as kind of optimistic as possible. Hopefully, they're dual parent households with a teenager who can help with some labor, but the
Mhm.
reality might be it might be a single mom with 3 kids, um,
Mhm.
who's coming in, and that's kind of what we see more than anything. That's what we see. So yeah, I think this is just an honest way to look at it. So we have 9 bullet points and 8 particular things that have to be carved out: enterprise, security, education, food preservation, health, power, shelter building, and food. So
Mhm.
eight people and 9 things. I think again, if we cross over and trying to wear 2 hats at one time while we're building the infrastructure, I think it's doable, especially with a smaller group like that. So it makes it more doable, and that's why I built it to be like again a framework for 5 acres, so that way we can take that personnel and just drop it. If we got 15 acres, we know we can do three of these units, 3 of these cohorts, however you want to look at it. But I think again, that's going to be really the key, is just having the right people in the first phase of like breaking ground and setting up the infrastructure and building things out, understanding why we're facing the houses this way versus this way, understanding why we're putting the garden here versus here. All that stuff is just like very much skilled labor. So, you know, the first boots on the ground, we're gonna have to have some folks who are versed in multiple things, and they're kind of just blazing the trail. And then again, if we have 50 acres, we can now bring in way more people, so we can start hitting those secondary and tertiary metrics of personnel, and just adding more value, more culture, more, you know, more everything to the community based off that. But again, the big thing is the food and all the things aforementioned. So we're still going to have these 9 things kind of expand as well as we add in more people for the arts or creativity, and we're adding in those folks. We still got to be mindful of who disposes of the waste, you know, who's building the shelters if we have to build, who's clearing the land, who's maintaining the brush. And so we still have to expand in those 9 categories as we expand with other people. So I haven't quite created that metrics yet. I really haven't. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not know my camera was off this whole time. This whole time I'm just yapping away. Uh, yeah. So we have to still be mindful of health and medicine, right? If we go from 5 families to 50 families, there can't still just be one nurse or one doctor. Now we have to be able to multiply certain things. And again, we won't know what we need to multiply until we're there and we're understanding what our living space is going to look like. Are we doing, you know, cob homes? Are we doing, you know, container homes? And again, are they prefabbed? Are we buying them? So a lot of those nuances come into play. But again, this is just a drag and drop for the first 5 people. And from there, I think that's a solid enough place to start to where we can build the infrastructure to add on to the community. How about go ahead, Mello, my bad.
So are we gonna say 5 people or 5 households? That's gonna be the
5
difference because
households for sure.
5
5
households.
households.
So
My apologies.
realistically,
It does.
so it's probably gonna be about 8 able-bodied people that'll be able to work. Because kids, I feel that they'll be able to work some of those roles as well, lending a hand. I think that's where the education will have to really come in and really emphasizing, like this is your education, like learning how to do these to help sustain the community. So yeah, I think probably so. It really is probably like 8 people per 5 households at the we say at the least.
Hopefully. Again, I think until
Hopefully,
we
yeah.
actually physically lay eyes
Right,
on people who are like-minded, like-hearted,
right.
like-spirited, and willing to concede to convenience and say, nah, I'm going over it. Like that's a
Yeah,
whole nother, you know. But yes, to further your
right.
point, to stamp it down, number 7, education and child stewardship, it says homeschooling with unschooling inspired proceeds and nature-based education. So yes, just like we read, so we're literally the framework, the blueprint. So just like our kids have duties with the rabbits and the sheep and the quail, the chickens, that's definitely where we can push some of that responsibility. So we don't need a, that's what I'm trying to reconfirm. We don't necessarily need all adults, like so many adults. Like we can still get it done with a small group of just people who are willing to do it and can be trusted to do it. So kids definitely are part of the community and are like vital to the infrastructure as well, because you know, we got to raise them up knowing how to do this stuff anyway. So yeah, our kids help a lot. The baby girl break bread, they be, hey man, they doing all that stuff. So yeah, we definitely ain't leaving the kids out for sure. That's all you got, Mello?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. How about anybody else? Does that sound you know, pretty no, I was gonna say, what about the minimum acreage? What do y'all think about the minimum acreage in this particular village, our Georgia group? Like where, like how many acres do you all think we should be looking for? Because I think again, this is the critical phase to know what we need. Now we need to start looking and picturing like how much we're looking to buy, so then we can start really configuring a real metrics to the number. What you think?
Well, I want to jump in real quick. I first wanted to speak on, I think that as we are coming in and building, we can see where, I guess, where we can save some money, or save some of those, not save the skills, but like let's just say housing. Maybe we won't be building our own housing. Maybe we will actually look into like the container homes or prefab or something, just to kind of save us just a little bit of that time or that energy. I think we could discuss that as a collective, but also as far as the land, because we have been doing this for years, like literally taking day trips to go look at land. And I think for our project, our sustainability, and us looking at the next generation, I would say we're looking at 100 acres or better, to be honest. And this gives us that conservation aspect, growth aspect, and thinking about even children. Okay, so are they going to be taking over our households, or we have enough land so they could build their own, tiny homes? So for me, I would definitely say, just from experience and looking at land and look at how much of the land, some of the land have to actually be in conservation or untouched, that over 100 acres would be sufficient. But that's just me.
Would that 100 acres begin with a 5-acre group, and then the next 5-acre group would be over there, and it would grow slowly into the 100 acres? Yeah.
Precisely. Yep, precisely. So that's again why we keep that 5 acre metrics true. So we
Yeah.
can just build it like I'm just looking at it like a cohort. It could be the Atlanta group that comes over here, but it might be a cohort that's in Alabama that's been talking about living. And maybe this is a real way for them to kind of join in. And like we can kind of do it like that. But that 5 acre cohort can just be, it can be almost insulated to where we can get a group of 8 households together and then say, okay, we got y'all's acreage ready.
Yeah.
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 Anybody else on size have any thoughts? I definitely agree with the 100 acres. Go ahead, Mello.
So 100 acres, if my math is correct, that's like 48 households. Let me look at the calendar. I'm just trying to make sure I get the numbers down. Let me see.
Yeah, double from 50.
5 acre,
No. 96, 96.
it's
48 was
it's 20 different 5-acre lots. If it's 100 acres
right.
and 8 households per 5
Hold
acre
on.
lot.
Okay, hold on.
So it's 24 per 50, I think.
No, it should be 6 times 8. That's 48 for 50. So I'm just doubling what I just did on the screen before. So it should be 96.
Oh, yeah.
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 So 96 households is what we can fit
Yeah,
on
on
100
the phone.
acres. So that would be yeah, that's a good little community. And like you said, Deidre, yeah, it would be obtuse for us to think that we get that many people locking arms and ready to move at the same time,
Yeah.
did the training, did all. So we're not going to be obtuse with our thinking. Yes, it's going to start off with those 5 acre cohorts. And I think that's going to be an honest way, especially if we wanted to open it up to be, the Southeast region. This is the first one we're doing, and we're opening it up because we do have stewardship centers in Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina is coming on. So we have these stewardship centers that's kind of in our region. So this could possibly be a real thing where they're literally saying, "Hey, I'm vetting the people to send to you all because y'all have the first one." But the real goal is to have, and this is kind of a bigger plan, but the real goal is to kind of just tap into again a lot of this, you know, I guess it's just new energy flowing around where folks who really have the land don't want to give it to just anybody. who want, they really want to give it to somebody who's going to steward it. They want to give it to somebody who's going to maintain its integrity and its being, and really take care of it. So I'm really expecting land to be kind of divested, and like, so the goal is to really establish some kind of land trust that these things are operating under or in. And that way, again, as we start to get more land, we might have stewardship centers everywhere by then, and they can start to send people to that land for the cohort training, or for the, you know what I mean? It'd be more feasible. So we're just in kind of that building the plane while flying the plane element.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's why, again, just nailing it all the way back down to stewardship centers. That's the most important resource. We have to have the stewardship centers in place, because that's the point of contact, that's the education, that's the culture, that's the in-person feeling of community. And then again, those folks are going to be qualified to be able to, do the family counseling, or not family counseling. I want to read it specifically. Because we've been starting this too. Our framework for communication. Um, yeah, co-creating a thriving community, family culture training. So that family culture training can definitely be housed at a stewardship center. And again, it's just really authentic dialogue, right? Are you talking at your child? Are you talking with them? Are you talking to your spouse? Like, and it's just really simple things that we can kind of introduce as our cultural norm. So as, again, people come in more frequently, they're going to be immersed in that culture as well. And it's just going to be easy. It's going to either make them feel uncomfortable, and they're gonna say, this that community ain't for me, or it's gonna make them feel very good. And they're gonna say, yes, this is what I've been looking for. And thank you for interest. And again, this is how we build that connection in real life. And then again, stewardship center first line supervisor, we can verify, yes, we're a good reference. They're good people. They did the classes, seen it firsthand, seen their gardening firsthand. Because again, a lot of people that come in and they'll fake it till they make it. That's capitalism. We're taught to fake it. We're taught to just act like you do it until you get there. You can get there, that's fine, but just act like it. No, we don't need to act like nothing. So we need to have real people to say, yes, they're really about that life. Y'all would be great to have them alongside y'all. Yeah. So yeah, just wanted to add that in just for specifics.
I have another question. What exactly physically does a stewardship center look like?
So basically, when you visit it, that would be, we're more like a stewardship center. I ain't gonna say on steroids, but like, I try to let people know that it doesn't take the inside space. So Mello, I know you at home. Mello, you outside right now?
I'm outside Miss Janice's house.
Oh, okay. So show Miss Janice's backyard, please, real quick. So Miss
Gotcha.
Janice is about to be a stewardship center, and that just means that she has the physical space, is her home. She's the host, right? Miss Janice has the garden space right there. So a stewardship center just has to have a garden space so they can teach education on seed to production, food preservation, and then all Miss Janice needs is some rabbits or some chickens. And now she's designated or qualified to be a stewardship center. Of course, you're gonna have to have the personnel needed. It's supposed to be four parties to it. The host, that's her. You're supposed to have a lighthouse or somebody who teaches education. So they have Mello there, and then they have Miss Mildred, which is her neighbor. She's a member as well, so she can serve as the teacher, an event planner, and then somebody who handles the media marketing. So those are all four personnel or positions needed. It can be covered by one person or two people, but it's just a backyard. It's just a front yard. It's a garage space. Again, you just got to have that garden. You got to have the information and the education available, and then just have the space to host at least 10 people at one time. That's all. So it's very much like we wanted to make the bar very low, because again, a lot of the issue right now is land access, and we don't want to try to make it seem like you got to have acres and acres and acres. So that's why I said, like, mine is not the greatest. We are a stewardship center, but when people look at us, they're like, oh, you got to have 3 acres. Oh, I got to convert my whole upstairs to a classroom. And it's like, no, don't. Look at Miss Janice. Just her backyard, that's it. She don't have a tent. It's nothing. If it started raining, they can go in the garage. She got an indoor space downstairs where we're going to have our movie night tonight. That's it. And so that's what a stewardship center is. It doesn't take any more money. It's very cost efficient because it's people who already do this work. They're already living this life and they're calling for this concept to come into reality. They're saying, yes, hey, I'll give my garage up and my garden space up to teach people in my community. That's it. And the benefit of being a stewardship center, we lost our funding earlier. We had a $75,000 funding that we got granted before DEI came. But the intention is basically the stewardship centers are supposed to host 3 events per month. Every event is $400, so that's $1,200. So basically, a hands-on workshop that's donation-based. Excuse me, a donation-based demonstration, a physical hands-on workshop, and then a social, some kind of social like a movie night. That's all the stewardship center has to do. And it's basically like if we can kind of, I use it as like mortgage assistance. You're not going to get rich being a stewardship center because we don't want that to be the goal. We want it to be very impactful as far as like introducing yourself to other people who are again in that same frame of mind and spirit to where we can bring them in. And yes, you're going to get $1,200 a month or $10,800 for the year. That's your stipend. We're going to help you with compost and things like that. But that's all you get as a stewardship center. But it's honest, and it's again one of those things where we can kind of once we start getting the funds, we'll start being able to really support these stewardship centers in that way. But the beauty of this is like people are becoming stewardship centers just off of necessity, out of the love, and that's the beautiful. Like it's really beyond like what I can really conceive when people really do it out of the kindness of their heart, like really the forward motion and progression of humanity. So it's a beautiful thing, beautiful place to be in. That was long, Deidre. I'm sorry. I gave about a 5 minute.
That was just beautiful too. Well, not that long either. Mhm.
And thank you for those
Thank-
questions. Yeah. Y'all have any more questions, please shoot them out because this is again our village planning. This is just what we have to offer. I'm not saying it's perfect. We thought about it. We've implemented most of these things, and that's the other beautiful part. This is not like theory. This is very much practicum that we've been living by. Even right now on our property with 3 acres, we're still doing this same method by having other community members who live here and they're actually taking part in the farming, or she's sewing, or she's baking bread. We're utilizing the co-housing. We're sharing the kitchen, we're sharing supplies, sharing vehicles sometimes. And again, it's just like everybody adds to the food production. And then when it's time to harvest, everybody gets a portion or we have a meal together. And so we're already doing it. This again, I know how impactful it's going to be, but we're definitely open to some questions or critiques, you know what I mean? If y'all see any uh holes in our boat, so to speak.
Where's the ideal
Yeah,
location for the village? Would it be within a proximity, like with a certain proximity within the current stewardship center, or you looking what 3 hours from the typical stewardship
yeah,
center, like,
no.
or just
I,
anywhere?
I think proximity to a major city is going to be key. Because the whole point is like changing the culture. And we learned this again. God, the creator done blessed us to kind of learn through these hard lessons. So when we bought the 87 acres, it was in Sparta, Georgia, 2 hours outside of Atlanta, two and some change. And we learned really quickly that you're only as strong as the resources around you, and the people are the main resource. So anything we build is also meant to be replicable. So we're around the most people, we can cause the most change because more people see us. So to be in proximity to a metropolitan area is going to be key. So for us, we're already outskirts of Atlanta. We probably wouldn't go any further than 45 minutes to an hour outside of where we are. So that's just, yeah, and that kind of gives you on the cusp of rural. It's kind of crosses over into rural Georgia. You get out of the metro status, so you can still have bigger acreage. You can do a little bit more stuff as far as zoning, but you still have the proximity of a feeder system. Again, those stewardship centers are going to be based in metropolitan areas. That's where stewardship centers are. We don't have any stewardship centers as of now in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense. Population 2,000, how many people? So it makes more sense to be in a metropolitan area. But again, if these villages are a little bit further out, now you got the people who are in the metropolitan area visiting these stewardship centers, and they have the capacity to drive an hour on a Sunday to go out to this village and kind of have a more immersive training, or you know what I mean, looky look. So that's kind of how I see it, Mello. I see not going too far outside of a metropolitan area within the span of like an hour, hour and a half, and that's from Atlanta. So we're already like 20 minutes from Atlanta, so we wouldn't go further than an hour. And that's again just being realistic. We're trying to reach people, and people have cram schedule. They working 2.5 jobs, trying to take care of kids, trying to figure out how they bake bread, how they go. We're not trying to say, hey, take a day and drive 3 hours to come over here for a 2.5 hour class. No, it's not feasible. So the stewardship centers, excuse me, the villages need to be in some kind of proximity um, to a major city, so that we can kind of have that fresh flow of people coming in. Because again, the stewardship centers, excuse me, I keep saying that. I'm so sorry. The villages are built on agro-tourism also. So I don't know if we're going to keep that as our broad model for everybody. I just know, I'm definitely open it for it to be tweaked. But for us, we're saying that's the most honest way to kind of again activate that economic stimulus. We're living off the land already. We can grow some extra stuff for other people that are in the city now. So again, that proximity makes sense. And then two, it's Lord, I done lost my train of thought. Uh, Man, I had a good one coming though, y'all. Man, if I remember it, I'm gonna say it. But as of now, yeah, the proximity. Oh, the agritourism, and then it adds the educational factor. So again, when we want people to come and see how our culture is, again, we can't be 3 hours away. Like we need to be close enough for people to just be able to take a mini vacation for a weekend to come see how these folks are living off the land. This diverse group of people who are doing this and that, and oh man, I get to go there too. So yeah, any other things to throw on the wood?
Now yeah, you definitely made some good points. And again, this is just from us doing the work, especially learning how Sparta, I think, was 45 minutes away from Augusta, was the major city. So even with that, we were just like, oh, if people actually have to have jobs, like it's not as feasible. So again, yes, outside of the metro city is what I think is feasible for us. So
Yeah,
So
thank you for that, because I forgot. Go ahead, Mello. My bad.
yeah, I think like an hour, within an hour north or within an hour south, because I know we got Macon to the south. So it's Atlanta, Macon. Then I know northern Georgia, we got Chattanooga, and of course we'll be between Chattanooga and Atlanta. And I think on the west side is that rural area will be between Birmingham and Atlanta. Now on the east side, well, Charlotte's like 3 hours away, but you still got Greenville, South Carolina. Like which area? Which
We've been looking south.
ideally
Yeah, we've been
south.
looking south. Yeah, we've been looking south just because of zoning and cost. A lot of stuff north is very expensive. Very expensive. And yeah, we look at a lot of different things too, as far as demograph, who's living there, what kind of mindset do they have? Are they like progressive thinking? Are they into this kind of living off the land? I think again, the beautiful thing is like everybody's looking to kind of be more sustainable now. So I think it's a way to kind of introduce the culture to even people who might not have 5 years ago been interested. But now it's like everybody's like, hey, this community thing don't sound so bad, or hey, this food growing thing don't sound so bad. So I think we can go anywhere really, but south is where we've been looking, just because of zoning and contingencies such as that.
And Mello, I have a list. I have to dig my list up somewhere of most of the counties that are kind of like in that 1 hour range around Metro Atlanta. And I think I found a good bit of land like going towards Alabama and definitely south. Like again, Laura said, up north tends to be a lot more expensive. And I think that's just by, by design. But yeah, out towards Alabama, definitely going south seems to be feasible. All right, so yeah, Lawrence covered quite a bit. It's 3 o'clock right now. I'm gonna look at our document just to see, make sure we're in line with everything. Okay, that is the red one. That's got a lot of things open. I'm sorry, y'all.
She done exited herself out. I guess I'm the host now. I get to do what I want to do, man. Cut that music on. Get
I'm,
that drink out.
it's easy to exit out by mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited, y'all, to be honest. This we've been waiting to get here because again, I was saying that earlier on one of my earlier soliloquies, man. Like this is where the rubber hits the road, man. And we can talk all the talk we want to, but stewarding the land is not that hard, but it's something that takes effort, commitment, and sometimes sacrifice. And this is kind of where all the good deeds and all the words and all the extravagant statements sometimes they meet a screeching halt because it's too hot or the soil is too hard or you just got, the animals got, taken out the game because the fox got in. A lot of people really get dusted off at this point. So this is kind of where I've been waiting to kind of, because we have a stronger group now. I think, again, we have more synergy with what we're doing. And again, being a stewardship center, I'm getting to see people who have the gardens. I know Cynthia has a garden. My wife done went to a house and we know Mello has his garden. I've been to his house personally, and it's like these are people who I don't have to ask, are y'all comfortable with working outside in the sunlight or doing this or doing that? It's it's cool. So I feel way more comfortable now, kind of making that a thing and kind of really like just showing the status. I ain't gonna say status quo, but it's like we really have to have a standard. I guess that's what I'm looking for, a standard of being. And it has to be mind, body, and spirit. So it's not like we can work on the mind and work on our soul. But if you don't move that body, or you can't carry that wheelbarrow, or you can't grab the logs, or you can't tend to the animals, because that's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to work. And again, this is just where, as a stewardship center, now we're doing these 10 by 10 food plot installations. So this is a good way to kind of get people moving as well. So we've been, Deidre, I don't know if you know, but we've been going around Atlanta and installing food production plots. And that's kind of our offering for low cost or no cost. So all the people have to do is pay for the soil. And then our lighthouses and stewardship centers go and actually dig out the soil, amend it, add the compost, add the plants, everything free of charge. And that's really how we're showing people. One, that's our education, so we can have hands-on education every week, twice a week, 3 times a week if we want to, and we have the funds and the resources. But it's another way to show people like who want to be a part of the community and want to get in this village. This is might be the kind of work that we have to do. So come on out and test it out, see if this is right for you. You know what I mean? So it's exciting. It's what a wonderful time to be alive.
That's beautiful. I didn't know about that. That's like great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're doing a lot right now. Just trying to keep our pedal to the metal, I think again, it's the right energy for
Yeah.
shift. People are calling for it. And we just started doing a lot of different things, but like more so documenting and like really talking about the conversations we're having. That's been a big thing. And yeah, I think people are looking for it. So we just have to create, like, our framework has to be true. It can't be a theorized. So it has to be real. It has to be something tangible. And I think we have a wonderful opportunity to grab the attention of people who are looking for a better way to live and like introducing this culture by way of, again, people being able to come to it and use their sensory to feel through it it's going to be a wonderful way to kind of like plant those seeds figuratively and literally. All right, Booby, go
All
ahead.
right, y'all, I'm back on. So land search is a lot. There's still a lot more things I think we have to consider, especially having a water source, all these extra things, of course, pricing. So I think I'll take a little bit more time to go a little bit deeper and look at certain spaces that are available and share it with the group just to give an idea of, what the land actually look like, parts of the land that's actually habitable versus parts of the land that have to stay in conservation. And yes, I can build on that a little bit more. I think again, me, Lawrence, and Sanjata are on the land team. And next up is our marketing and outreach. And Cynthia, I believe you are on marketing and outreach.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. So I know Sanjata usually asks, if we want to go ahead and start to go into that next subject. For me, I think the land was a lot already. And it's 3:12, and I think that we could sit here again because the land this part needs a little bit more depth to it. So yeah, how do everybody else feel?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to park it.
Yeah, I am too. I ain't gonna lie.
It's
So
a,
I digest, yeah. That's digestible. I think we were productive in conversation today. So yeah,
mm,
it was park it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we had some good work. Lawrence talked. He gave everything that we needed. So I think we could jump off from here. And in good spirits.
definitely,
Right.
definitely. Thank you.
Ooh.
I'll see you
All
in
right.
2
Thank
weeks.
y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys.
See y'all
Enjoy the
later.
rest of y'all weekend.
All right. See y'all later.
All right.